Good morning. It's Monday. Welcome. This is the Coffee Break Show. You're on the Success Secrets for Business, Family, and Life channel. This is brought to you by the Metadime Digital Network. I'm Vickie Helm, and welcome to the Coffee Break Show. We go live Monday through Friday. We share tips, tools, techniques, and all those things that are going to create inspiration, motivation, and thrivability in your life. And this week is a major week. I'm really, really excited that you're here today. Today is Monday, and we are going to be rocking and rolling, talking about overcoming ego and preparing for the end game. And that's really big today, to prepare for the end game. And so we are going to start the show by telling you, welcome. If you're new here, put your name down below. We want to see you and know you and like you. And we also want to welcome all the guests that are usually here with us every single weekend. It's Monday, and I see you all popping in or starting to roll in this morning. Thank you for being a part of the family. Thank you for being a part of the Metadime Digital Network family. This is where we begin. This week, I have the utter privilege of having Joel Comm this week on the show. You guys do not want to miss Joel Comm. Joel Comm is I owe so much to him. I owe so much of my wealth to him. He's the first person, along with Dan Nickerson, to help me make my first dollar on the internet, which changed my life forever. I've been following him since 1997, 98, somewhere around there, 90 something or other. And, I see you popping on. Do me a favor, say hello and come on in and join the chat. Joel has been everywhere. He was the first internet series TV that was How to Be a Millionaire on the internet. He's New York Times, multiple times, New York Times bestseller, best-selling books everywhere. You do not want to miss this show coming up on Wednesday. But it's Monday, and it's the start of the week right now. And what I want to do is just have a conversation where we're talking about overcoming the ego and preparing for the end game. So what exactly is the end game? Well, thank you, by the way, preparing for the end game. This is where we're at today. Thank you for being here. In the end game scenario, what is happening is that we can see that things are shifting, and we can see that there's a lot of unrest. There's civil unrest, there's political unrest. There's kind of just unrest all around the world. It's not just one person in one camp in one country. It's all around the world we have this unrest. Beirut, they have civil unrest today because they are not happy with who was responsible for blowing up the building, there's not enough reacting from the governments. And what we're finding is that governments are super, super slow to respond. It doesn't matter what country you're in. It doesn't matter where you are. Countries are slow to respond. And what happens when we have these slow responses is that people aren't getting the help or the things they need or the things they have to have. I like this right here. I'm prepping for the new game. This is where we're going to start today. By the way, good morning, Donnie. Nice to see you on. This right here is the thing. You need to start preparing for the new game. And that new game means that we want to go ahead and look at things differently. We see all of this unrest because people want it to go back to the way it was. And, we haven't done that. We haven't gone back to the way it was. And I'm not sure that's going to happen for us. But what I do know is that you can prepare for the new game. That means the first way you have to prepare for the new game is that you have to overcome your ego. You have to overcome your ego desires, ego wants, ego anything. Those things are going to take you out of the now and make you look at the past. When you're looking at the past, you can't prepare for the end game of the future or what's here now. And so when I talk about the ego, it's the thought that somehow somebody's going to come out and rescue you. No, nobody's coming out to rescue you. You're either going to sink or you're going to swim, and you're going to sink or swim because of your habits, your talents of what you're doing. And those things that you're preparing for right now are going to help you bring in this new game, this new end game, this new game that we're going to be doing. So what are the things that we need to look out for? Well, one, our banking systems around the world, again, our financial systems are teetering. So we're obviously going to have new financial systems coming in. Our work is teetering, the way we work, how we work. Some things are getting wiped out by floods. Some things are getting wiped out by fires. Some things are getting wiped out by hurricanes and cyclones and things like that. How we work when we work online and we work at home, and we're, instead of going to the office, our offices are going to be in our home. We're going to have to learn new relevant skills. McKinsey had a quote I just read. It was saying that 40% of the people that work right now, 40% of the world's people, not 40% of the people in your building, 40% of the world's people are going to have to go back to college and learn something significantly new, something significantly more powerful to get them back in the workforce, or to get them to the point where they can run a business or do something else, because that's what's coming in. What's coming in is these new phases that we're going to go through. We're not so much going to work for income where we get a paycheck. We're going to be working for cash flows and building cash flows that you can happen. So what is that? Well, there are other investments outside of the stock market that you can build cash flows from, that you can make money from, that you can build your business with and continue going. But the end game isn't going to be pretty. When it crashes, the domino effect around the world is going to be pretty significant. And one of the biggest things that you can look for, the biggest contenders, is going to be something that has to do with food sources. That our food system right now is so badly broken that they already know there's going to be famine in countries. I mean, countries like China is going to have famine. They've lost, what was it, 700,000 hectares of land to these floods, 700,000 hectares of land. So if you're looking at how much land has been demolished, their food that they grew, flooded, everything's gone. Then we have South Africa, which is in pretty tough shape right now because of the locusts this season. And we still have flooding that's coming, etc. Those people who can grow their food or grow their own food or learn to grow food as a business, those people are going to be very, very they're going to be very needed. They're going to be like an A-bill business. Everybody wants them, and they're going to be needed everywhere. Let's see. How people usually imagine their future is usually just to bring their imaged desires of the past to them. Governments are probably just past their peak effectiveness. Yes, and I want to talk about this because, Scott and I were talking about this. The governments have run out of ideas. They've run out of money. They keep printing it and printing it and printing it. But that seems to be the only solution that they have right now. Print more money, print more money. It hasn't been solving anything. Printing more money has just propped up and made billionaires more money, but it hasn't made you or me any more money. And what happens here is they have no other solution. What solution can they go to now other than print more money? And eventually they are going to print the money to the point of absolutely demolishing the value of the money, which really isn't anything. And so right now we're living off credit and the good faith of the people of the United States. And that isn't going to work much longer because we've already had to bail us out. There's another bailout happening to the people. And so this isn't going to be an easy transition coming up over the next decade. Not the next year, not the next year and a half. You want to plan for the whole next decade. The next decade is your end game. Where do you want to be and who will you be over that next decade? Take a moment and breathe. Pause, close your eyes. I think I should pull this up before I read it because I just got interested. Take a moment and breathe. Let's do that together. Pause, close your eyes. What do you see? Where do you see yourself going? What are your talents? What do you see is where you go. You have to really take stock of you inside this conversation. You have to really take stock of where you are, what you're doing, how you want to be in that conversation. I agree. They have become so bloated and ineffective that they desperately need an overhaul. Yes, our governments around the world, not just, oh, the United States needs an overhaul. No, governments around the world need an overhaul. The how we respond, how slow it's been, how I don't think we've had great leadership through this crisis, this particular crisis. And I feel like going forward, I feel like bringing back manufacturing to country-centric areas instead of having manufacturing all in one place, I think that will help stabilize countries if we do that. So what does that mean? I want to give a couple of hints to those entrepreneurs that are out there. Some people are having a home business where they're buying 3D printers, big 3D printers. Some of them are making tools right now because tools have been made overseas, right? So drills and wrenches and screwdrivers and things like that, just making tools in your garage and selling them locally to people. People have been doing that. Also, micro agriculture. We're talking CSAs in your local area, not thousands and thousands and thousands of acres of just one crop, but those people who are farming and making several crops in a small farm and selling it locally. Those CSAs are going to be really back. Let's see what we got here. Though I agree, I remember when I was raising kids, I felt so responsible for them that I told myself some stories about responsibility that I was too nervous to take that space and breathe and change for a long time career and start over. Yes, that can happen. That's the whole thing right there, is because families are feeling so responsible and they're thinking, how are we going to move forward? How are we going to do this? I need to get money in a job fast. I could lose my home. I could lose my car. I could lose. And their mind gets, I could lose. And we have to change it. I could lose to, I got to do something. What can I do to make money now? Every government has become nothing but a tool of enforcement of its legal code. They do more harm than good. I want to say that I agree with that. The law is not on your side anymore. The law is not written to be on your side anymore. It is made to collect fines from you so that they can derive money by making enforcements of legal codes. That is very, very clear that the local governments and big governments have gotten to the point where their job is to siphon fines from you. So if you look at how big the codes are for the legal governments and everything else, everything has a fee or a fine behind it. And Scott, I think this is so important because everybody thinks the law is for them. The law is no longer for you. There's tons of people that are in jail and prison because they didn't get due process. So when we look at these things, these are the things that have to be retooled. And the first thing that will help you is to have cash flows from a business, cash flows from investments, and I mean good investments, not online investments, not retirements, not 401ks. For me, those kinds of investments, they're going to be volatile and rocky. I think one of the best investments people can make now is coming back to the homestead. However you can make your house a homestead and produce food and things like that, that is going to help you out. But here's one thing for sure. The end game is going to be that we see deflation, and then we're going to see extraordinary, and I mean extraordinary inflation. Inflation is the thing that you're going to want to prepare for now. Nothing is cheaper than it is right now. Everything is going to get more expensive over a period of time right now. Clothing, shoes, anything that was made in China, as all of that inventory depletes around the world, as that supply gets smaller, the price is going to go up and up and up and up, and we're going to see huge inflation. We're seeing food inflation right now, huge food inflation. Let's see, right here, listen to the subtle and see the subtle. Do not see a need, an idea. See an idea, not a need. Do you see a need or an idea? Do you see a problem that you can solve or fulfill? Right now, we are rethinking our future. We've done this before, and we can do this again, and this time even better. Listen to your subtle. You have to be a part of the solution. I like what he's saying, because there's intuition everybody has for themselves. Everybody has intuition. And one of the things that's going to help us move forward is guiding that intuition, listening to that intuition, and letting it rule a little bit over your mind. That intuition is there to help you push things forward and move things in a direction that is going to help you grow. Let's see what we got here. How interesting, kind of like aging, the losses continue in small incremental ways that until we step back and take a look at the big picture, we don't realize how much we've lost. We accommodated. Yes, that's true. We're going to see a lot of loss coming up because of that. Hey, good morning, MJ. Always nice to see you. Glad you're here, Marie Jo. So anyway, the future, looking at the end game, it's coming, and it's not going to be pretty. And I think the rose has fallen off the bud for the United States. We look so inept, being 5 million cases when other countries are shrinking, and the lack of leadership or discernment for here. Whatever that is, we're going to take a hit. Everybody's going to take a hit around the world, but we're going to take a hit. And I can tell you, the things that I think are more important to invest in is a skill set that is going to create money for you long term and over again. And I think that having a business online is one of the most important things you can have. I know that everybody has businesses, but businesses online are going to be the most important. You're going to have relevant skill sets, and you're going to have to understand what those the relevant skill sets are that you have. And you're going to have to be able to, use them in project-based things. But I want to talk about inflation and deflation as we keep going, because those are going to be part of the end game. Inflation and deflation both will happen in a whipsaw-like fashion. First one, then the other. That's true. And that's really what's going to happen. We're going to see inflation and deflation both. And they'll happen in a whipsaw-like fashion. First one, then the other. Then both, as some things become prohibitively expensive, while others previously expensive items will not be able to find a bid. That's true. There's a lot of houses right now. I'm not sure who this is. It says, I agree. Is this you, Ryan? I'm not sure. And I just want to say good morning. It's like, Jane, I always love seeing your name pop up. I'm so glad you're here. Good morning, sister. Good morning. So we are looking at also what we did, we downsized. We went from having 4 homes down to having 1 home. And we didn't make our one home the 5,000, 15,000 square foot. We really came down and made it absolutely cozy. And I want to tell you, I like where I live in the mountains. And so I bought the house as a cabin to go to on the weekends. And now I live here full time. And I absolutely have no desire to go back to that. How many cars can we own? How many cars can we buy every year? How many vacations can we go on? I finally live where people go on vacation. So I kind of live a vacation life. It's Luna Claire. Thank you. Welcome, Luna. Nice to see you on. If you look up here, somewhere over here, there's a link that says StreamYard. If you click the StreamYard link and click the blue button, it'll let me see your name. Otherwise, you just look like this where it says Facebook user. And that's how I know it's you now, Luna Claire. Thanks for being on. So the important thing about moving forward in this thing is to remember we're not moving back to a past economy. We're moving into a pandemic economy, and that's vastly different. And until it's going to take about 4 years for the pandemic economy to even get normalized in a way, so to see what the fallout from it is. And there's so many floods and things like that. It's going to be a long haul. It's going to be the next decade. You want to prepare for the next 10 years right now. The reason that's so important is if you plant an apple seed, if you an apple tree or a garden right now, in 10 years, it'll be the best garden ever and really doing something great. You cannot just rely on one income. You can't say, well, we have one breadwinner now in the house. That's not going to work for the future. And not two breadwinners either. We got to move from the breadwinners to the business owners. You've got to have some cash flows. And that leap needs to be made right now. We are seeing more job losses that are permanent than are going to be reevaluated. Here we go. Robin Helm, years ago, I remember working 7 days a week for 12 hours a day so I could keep my children in private schools and give them a good life. Back then, the jobs provided you the security to go to work and everyday stability was there. But now we must dare to be brave to move through this transition in order to thrive. That's true. Those things are long gone. They're not coming back. They were of an era of one time. And just like Uber disrupted the taxi cab drivers, we are now seeing this pandemic disrupt the world and the governments and our economies around the world. That disruption has to be rethought. So that taxi cab driver had to figure out, well, how am I going to, make the same money if there's Uber and Lyft drivers and they don't need to get a medallion? They had to rethink how they were doing that business. And that's kind of what we have to do. And I will tell you this, communities are going to be the most important thing that you can belong to. Communities that are local and communities that are online. Your tribe is what's going to help you out. That tribe, that group of people that you take care of. Those are the people who are going to be in your posse. And at the end game, you want to know who they are and make sure they're with you. I like this. It's time to plant. Strategy is so important. Yes, it is. Is this Luna Claire or is this somebody new? I'm not sure. I have invested my life with Udemy. I love Udemy, by the way. I live, breathe, and bite. I love Udemy. I also bought 22 acres of land in March. Congratulations. That was smart. I plan on a community garden in 2021. You are thinking ahead right now in a great way, and I want to talk to you about that. I'm taking it you're a Udemy instructor, and if you are, thank you. I love Udemy. I am a student there, and I absolutely love learning all kinds of programming and whatever I need to learn. I go to Udemy and get a class, and it's done. So I think this is what I'm talking about, having a cash flow. And I want to talk about the brilliance of this strategy right here. Udemy is when you build a course, like let's say somebody wants to learn photography and they want to learn a certain type of photography, and they get on Udemy and they make a course, or they buy a course for photography. So a guy or a gal who is a photography expert makes the course and puts it up on Udemy, and it's just up there. The course is up there. They can upload another course. They can, put a new information on their latest course. And what happens when the course gets there is that everybody buys the course, and there's a split of revenue between the course creator and, of course, Udemy as the platform. And what happens is it's like lynda.com or learn.com. You can buy these courses down and bring them down. So if this person is a course creator, they just simply create a course, create a course, create a course, and they have 3 cash flows coming in all year round. And then on the brick and mortar business, they bought 22 acres of land in March where they're going to do a community garden where there's probably going to be a CSA. And a CSA is community supported agriculture. Community supported agriculture. My friend, I think this is a good plan right here, a really good plan. Congratulations. This is fantastic. Yes, it is Luna. Automation will be replacing the majority of labor jobs. There will be humans watching over the robots, yet these types of jobs will be a few and far between. Where will this take us ultimately? How do we monetize our new lives? I want to go back up to here and say, you have to have a plan or a strategy right now, a plan or a strategy. You're going to sink or swim in the future based on whether you have this strategy. And thank you for that. I love this. Well, that's fantastic, Luna, 22 acres. That's a lot of work, but community garden, CSA, that's been one of my dreams as well. Yes, I would like that. Oh, here we go. Yes, it's me. Thank you. So there are options out there, but you need to prepare for the end game right now. And I want to say, you don't prepare in a month and it's all good. You want to prepare for the decade, because I think going in from 2030 to 2040, those farmlands are going to be equally important. I think being a farmer right now is one of the smartest, most successful businesses. What is it? Jim Rogers said one time that farmers were going to be the people who are driving Lamborghinis in the future. And he knew a lot. So I like this. May I ask where you're located? Can't wait to see the updates on that. Yeah. Luna Claire, that would be just something that would be exciting to see if there was, updates. This is where you are, etc. So wherever you are, you may not have to have, you could say to yourself, well, I can't afford 22 acres, but do you have a backyard? Because there right now are backyard gardens that are providing families with full-time incomes based on supplying these eateries or places or people with food in the neighborhood. Those things we have to do. And so if you have something like a 3D printer and you're making tools and selling them, or a 3D printer to make as a small business, maybe you have a microgreens business, maybe you have an online business where you're selling things. The thing is, all of the products on Amazon, all of those products that come from China that we sell from Amazon, they're going to go and they're going to be small. And then they're going to be like, well, we need products for sale. And they're going to open back up to those little small mom pop shops that are selling honey and that are doing these things that we can buy online. So that there's, where tennis shoes, you watch how expensive tennis shoes are going to get in a bit, because there's a slowdown on getting supplies and things to China. And the Chinese right now, their manufacturing plants are underwater and they're probably full of mud and debris and have to be rebuilt. It's not like they're, the floods went down. Okay, let's rev up our manufacturing. We have months of not manufacturing. We have ways to get up, those homemade jams that you make, those homemade things that you make that you could sell. You can sell locally. You can sell them right now. You can sell them everywhere. Want to go here because I like this, because Donnie, I love your advice here. Ultimately, we're moving into a paradigm where money will be viewed differently due to the advancements of automation. What will our daily lives look like? Yes, I'm expecting a lot of Bitcoin coming up. Let's see. Farmers are just happy with an F-150 King Ranch. Yeah, we are. Yeah, I like that. That's good right there. I did owner financing during the heat of the initial pandemic. Very smart. I've already made good friends with the neighbors. Nice. That's good. There's your tribe going. And I've enjoyed their cucumbers and tomatoes. That's really good. We planted a few zucchini and squash, but the dirt needs a lot of work. It usually does right now. That is the big issue. That's the whole point of the 10 years, because soil needs to regenerate, et cetera. And people don't understand how food is going to be, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be super expensive. A lot of people don't know where they're going to afford to find it. Pretty soon, we're not going to be eating real food. There's going to be a lot of synthetic food coming in because real food is so expensive. And those people who are right now getting in line to get food boxes and food from the government, that's going to run out after a while. There's going to be a slowing on meat. We're probably going to see a lot more plant-based foods being created and whole foods, and I think that's great. I like this. We planted my favorite fruit, watermelon, beside the trailer. We're renting, which is right across the land. So they get a trailer, they're renting right across the land. So true about the Ford F-150. That's right. Some girls are truck girls, and we love our F-150. So that's today's thing that I want to tell you about this. The last thing I want to talk about is overcoming your ego. And a lot of people don't know how to overcome their ego, and it's going to hurt them in the future if they have a big ego, a mean ego, something that belittles or judges, or, hey, you know, I'm a hater, whatever it is that you're proud of, or trolling, etc. Pretty much you're going to have to get really real in a little bit, because there's not going to be those things that'll keep us, you know, I see kind of a World War II mentality coming up in the future. There's going to be victory gardens. And, you know, back in the era when women wore hose, they couldn't get nylons, and they had to make do with things that they have, and makeup was scarce. And there's all kinds of things that are going to be happening in the future. I like this. Greenhouses will be a must. Volcano eruptions are increasing. Another one last night, a natural occurrence with grand solar minimum cycles. In order to grow, we will need greenhouses or southern movement migration to weather, which is part of our history. Yes, greenhouses, most definitely. All of those gardens will become gardens. All of those yards will become gardens because it has to. Watermelons are tough to grow here, but I just put in my second planting of spinach, kale, and chard. You guys, it's so cute. The smartest thing to do. That's right. Those yards, because it's the smartest thing to do. I'm not sure what this is. That's high 10. Somebody said, hi, Michelle. And that must be, yay. Hi, friends. Hey, Michelle, we miss you and love you. Hugs. Hey, Michelle, which Michelle is it that we miss and love you? Hugs. Which Michelle are we talking about? So today I want you to really think about, I'm going to be talking about this a lot. Who's your community? Who's your community? You're not going to get through this alone. You need your tribe, and your tribe needs to be trained. It needs to be goal-oriented. People need to know how to work together. If you have a couple of cash flow businesses, you need a strategy for that. Oh, Jim and Michelle. Oh my God. Holy cacao. That's all I can say. Holy cacao. Michelle, that is outstanding. I'm so glad to see you. What a nice surprise. So yeah, anybody who's watching this, if you are watching this and you're watching the hashtag replay of this, thank you for joining us today. And thank you guys for joining us on the Coffee Break Show today. Remember, you got to prepare for the end game right now and take it very seriously. This is the most important time you have right now. All right, I'll see you tomorrow. Remember, Wednesday, the man is in the house. Joel Comm, Joel Comm in the world, in the house. He is going to rock the show. We're going to talk about the future and probably a lot about Bitcoin and things like that. We're going to rock the house. Holy cacao. All right. I love you all so much, Michelle. Thanks for dropping by. Mwah! Peace out.